What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name is Kyle. Today, it's January 2nd. Happy New Year to everybody. We're going to be going over the top waiver wire ads for fantasy basketball. It's week 12. We're going to get into it here. I'll hop into a screen share. Let me pull that up right now. And then, like all the other shows, if you guys are new, I always pull up hashtag basketball. They have a nice advanced schedule grid. So basically, we're just going to see who's playing how many games this week and what to look for. So the Wizards only playing 2 games this week. They have 1 game on Tuesday, 1 game on Friday. So I don't know if we're going to want to pick up Wizards, but there's a couple in mind that we'll probably, we'll talk about for the long term. But if you're looking for short term, the Wizards not a good pickup this week. Looks like a handful of teams play 3, but the majority of teams are going to end up playing 4 games this week here. So we look relatively safe here. So you kind of want to avoid these teams here with just 3 games. Maybe you could hit a couple early in the week and then switch to the back of the week. But hashtag basketball, I just clicked on week 12, and it'll show you how many games, what days they play, and it's just a good way to kind of set your tone for the rest of the week. But anyways, we're gonna hop into it. I'm gonna do a little bit differently here. I'm gonna go by point guards. We'll go by each scoring position. So we'll look at point guards here, and basically all I did was I filtered by all, and that way we can see everybody. And then I clicked on the old plus minus here to see who's been the top added player the last handful of days, or I think it's the last 7 days. So top guy, he's on the cover of the video here. It's Emmanuel Quickly here. He's got a 9.5% increase in ownership the last 7 days, and the dude is averaging 49.5 points per game over the last 7 days. You can filter that over here with last 7. And the dude's he's been balling out. We know Jalen Brunson's out with the hip injury. Not sure how long he's going to be out, but you can see here the last 3 games, he put up 50, 57, and 40. So the minutes are there, the points are there, the assists are definitely there. So he's a 4 category player: rebounds, assists, steals. He'll get a block on every occasion. But it looks like a 4 category player. He's probably the top pickup. And I'm not sure. Let's actually look and see how long is Brunson out for. Let me look here. He's got that hip injury. They're listing him as questionable, so I don't think he's going to be out too long. Maybe at some point this week he'll return. His last game was Christmas Day, so we'll have to monitor Brunson here. But otherwise, I mean, the point guard slot, if you need someone, it's Emmanuel Quickly. Let me hit filter on. Leave my filters back here. And he's only 15% rostered, so try and find him. They play today against Phoenix. Markelle Fultz, he's about 27.8% rostered, and he's averaging 34.4 over the last 7 days. He's a 4 category player for the most part here. He does get blocks every now and then, but you look at his last 4 games, 39, 30, 33, and 37 here. So filling it in, and he's only 28% rostered. So if you play in 10-man leagues, he might be available for you. We have Derek White. He's 47% rostered, but he is averaging 26 points per game over the last 7 days. So he's playing much better lately. And he's a guy that probably needs to be owned in 12-man leagues for sure. He's probably a fringe guy in 10-man leagues. Here's Washington, point guard Monte Morris here, averaging 25 points per game. He's about 54% rostered, so maybe he's not available. But a guy that is probably available in most leagues is going to be Dante DiVincenzo. And what I like about him is he's dual eligible. You can get him in the shooting guard and the point guard slot. He's only 10.5% rostered, and he's averaging 30 points per game. Now, his minutes have been pretty consistent lately: 34, 39, 30, and 31. His scoring is going to be inconsistent most nights here, but I love to see the rebounds, assists, and steals. He's a good 4 category player filling in for, at the moment right now, Steph Curry. So go and add Dante DiVincenzo. He's probably one of the best ads of the week. Javon Carter's been playing well with Drew Holiday in and out of the lineup. There's Marcus Smart, but he's highly owned. Next, you have Bones Highland here. He's only 15.6% rostered, and he's averaging 24 points per game over the last few days. Just a super deep, option right here. I'm not sure why he got the minute spike there, but that's the game that's spiking it. So point guards, not the best, deepest group that we have here, but go look for DiVincenzo. Go look for Quickly. Try and take advantage of those guys if you can. We'll move on to shooting guards here. Top available, I guess the highest scoring or the highest percent move here is going to be for KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He's dual eligible. He's got the shooting guard and the small forward eligibility here, so you like to see that. He's about 19% rostered, and he's averaging about 21 points per game. So that seems, I guess that's on the season there. So he's kind of playing like he's been playing all year. Just a steady guy. If you play in a 12-man league, you're fine with him as one of your last players. And he's going to be on the floor a lot. He can pop off for double digits. He's a 4 category player for the most part here. So I like KCP as an ad. Again, only 20% rostered. We already talked about Gary White. Gary Trent's probably rostered. He's 66% rostered. But he is averaging 37 points per game over the last few days, so that's looking really good. What about Alec Burks, though, the Detroit Pistons shooting guard? 6.7% rostered, and he's averaging 33 points per game. Look at these last 4 games here. He's got his minutes up, his points are up, and then he does touch, rebounds, assists, and steals. He'll get a block on occasion here, but over the last 7 days, he's up about 6 minutes per game. He's up about 6 points per game. He's averaging an extra rebound and almost 2 assists more. Looking like a pretty good pickup right now. Again, 7% rostered. That's a pretty good spot right there. Norman Powell, he's only 20% rostered and he's averaging 24 points per game over the last few days. He's been missing for a good chunk of December, but he's starting to get back into the swing of things in his last 3 games. I mean, you'll take that 21, 28, and 33. His points are going to be his biggest category here, but he does touch rebounds, assists, and steals, and he's been getting blocks lately too. So I do like Norman Powell. Kevin Herter's probably already owned. What about Jalen Williams here, though, the OKC shooting guard? He's only 5% rostered, averaging 30 points per game in fantasy. And he's been playing a lot all season, so his minutes aren't changing, but his stats are starting to creep up a little bit. He's averaging 4 more points per game compared to his season averages. 2 more rebounds, assists are down, but steals are up and blocks are up. So he's a guy that can touch 4 or sometimes 5 categories. His last 4 games here, 25, 26, and 40. And look at the consistent scoring here. This looks like a really nice pickup here. Again, he's averaging 20.8 on the year, but if you look at his last 7 days, he's up to about 30 points per game. So that's a good snag there. Not sure what's up with Landry Shamet here. He had been filling in nicely for Devin Booker, but he hasn't played in a while with that Achilles. So we'll want to monitor him. Bogdan Bogdanovic, 52% rostered, but he's playing well. Trey Murphy here. He's a fringe guy in 12-man leagues. He's averaging 21 points per game over the last 7 days, about 21% rostered. There's DiVincenzo, and I guess we'll call up Quentin Grimes real quick too, because he's been benefiting with no Brunson. But Quentin Grimes, about 7.5% rostered, and he's averaging the last 7 days, he's averaging about 30 points per game. So you look at his minutes here, super consistent over the last 5 games. Points are kind of all across the board, but he does get rebounds, assists, steals, and an occasional block. So I like this in terms of 12-man leagues. I think this is the guy that you're looking to add. And then that's pretty much it. I'll just shout out John Conkar and DeLon Wright here. These guys are low owned, but in deeper leagues they can be used. Let's move on to small forward. The guy on the cover here, Rui Hachimura. Now, we did mention the Wizards only have 2 games this week, but I was just at the Bucks-Wizards game last night, and Rui Hachimura was like unstoppable. He had 26 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 37 points. And he did miss a good chunk of December, but he's back into the mix here, and he's playing really well. So his last 3 games, 37, 21, 41. Dude's only 12% rostered. This is one of the top pickups for the rest of the season here. So grab Rui. He's playing really good ball. We already mentioned KCP. What about Jaden McDaniels, though? Shooting forward, small forward for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Jaden McDaniels about 24% rostered, averaging almost 25 points per game over the last 7 days. He's going to be inconsistent. He's going to have some low lows, but I mean, you see a couple 42s in here, some 29s, some 30s. Just a good scoring option, and he does touch. You can see he gets rebounds, assists, and steals. He'll get blocks as well, so he does have potential for 5 categories if you play in those formats. Michael Porter Jr. should be rostered. We talked about Norman Powell on the shooting guards. What about Marcus Morris? He has not been a really trustworthy guy all year, but at 22% rostered, he's averaging 27 points per game over the last few days. And what I like about Morris is, look at this. He gets double digits every game. He gets, around 30 minutes per game here, and he's going to get rebounds, assists, steals, and the occasional block here. So if you need someone to score points and just chip in some other stats, Marcus Morris, a pretty good spot for you. TJ Warren. Now, he's 3.7% rostered, and he's averaging 23 points per game. And this is the guy here who is starting to get more minutes with the Brooklyn Nets. You see 31, 26, 27, 21, 22. He's kind of on the uptrend there, and he's going to be able to touch 4 or 5 categories. Mostly the points, but his rebound is trending up. He's going to chip in some assists, and he'll get some steals as well. So if you need someone in deeper formats, TJ Warren does check the boxes there. We talked about Bogdan, Trey Murphy, Josh Hart should be rostered. I'm not sure what to do with Royce O'Neal. He had started the year pretty well, but he hasn't been playing it as great since he missed a couple games here. But he's 29% rostered, averaging about 24 points on the season. So in 12-man leagues, this is the guy that can be added to the end of your rosters. And then I just want to call out Cam Johnson's going to be returning soon for the Phoenix Suns. They're starting to get him on the injury report and things like that. So he hasn't played in a long time, but when he was playing, he was averaging 24 points. So 10% rostered. Go check and see if Cam Johnson's available. Let's move on to the power forward position. We'll kind of go quickly here. You can still get Ruri. Jeremy Sokin here, 8% rostered last 7 days, though. He's averaging 27 points per game. He's going to be inconsistent. I do like that he's getting a lot of minutes, and compared to his season stats, everything's up. His minutes per game are up about 5. He's up in, almost 4.5 points per game. He's almost getting an extra rebound and a half. Assists and steals are the same. So this is a nice points and a rebound player. He's going to be on the floor a lot for the Spurs. Daniel Gafford played well the last few games here. He's averaging upwards of, looks like 29 fantasy points per game. So only 8% rostered. If you need a center power forward eligibility, Daniel Gafford's your guy. PJ Washington should be rostered. Nick Claxton, Christian Wood should be rostered. We talked about Marcus Morris. Talked about Royce O'Neal. Jaren Jackson's probably owned. And then there's Cam Johnson again. Keep an eye on Trey Lyles. He had been popping up on my radars too. He's averaging about 24 points per game, and really his last 5 games he's hit 20 points. So if you need someone in a deeper 12-team league, keep an eye on Trey Lyles. Let's move on to the center position, and then we'll wrap this up here. Mason Plumlee, he needs to be rostered. He's still only 41% rostered, but people are starting to figure that out. He's got an 8% spike over the last 7 days. But the dude, he's averaging 38 points per game over the last 7 days. So he's a really good player to snag. You got Onyeka Okongwu here for the Atlanta Hawks, 16% rostered, and he's averaging 35 points per game. There's Gafford. We talked about PJ Washington. I don't know why Steven Adams is so low owned. He's only 52% rostered. So if you play in 8 or 10-man leagues, pick him up. And then Naz Reid here, under 7% rostered, but look at his numbers the last 5 games here. He's been over 20 points. You see a couple 50 burgers in here, a spike player here who's getting minutes, and he's playing more than he has all season. So Naz Reid, this might be the last chance to get him before he starts getting added a ton of places. But that's it. That's the majority of people that I'm looking at on the waiver wire this week. You can, again, just hit that plus minus button, kind of filter through and see what's sticking out for you. And if you play on sport, if you play on points or categories, you guys can find what you need. So that's it. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest of your week, and good luck. We'll see you guys later. Peace.